Hi guys, welcome to Blam TV, Blam Partners in a Circle, Blam Academy. We're live today and it's Friday. I hope you've got that Friday feeling. I know I have, because we've got a fantastic show for you today. We've got the one and only Mr. David Rahman, and today he's going to be talking to you. He's got a full presentation aimed at you in particular if you are in business, thinking about going into business, or having trouble knowing the value of you. And valuing yourself is just such an important thing, particularly when you're in business and particularly when you're starting out in business, knowing your value. And I'm sure you've seen David before, the author of one of my favorite books, Let It Go, international speaker, in a lot of demand at the moment. He's just hot off another presentation that he's just been doing for another group of people. So we're really privileged and lucky to have him with us. And he's going to do a workshop for you today to help you know the value of you. So I'm just going to bring him into the stream. And here
Hello.
he is. How you doing, buddy?
Really good to see you. One of my favorite people you are to work with, especially. And really, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How's your week been? You all right?
Fantastic, mate. Yeah, really good week. Yeah, and likewise, mate. a bit of
Thanks.
bro love going on.
Yes. Come on, it's January. January's been good. January's
Yeah,
good.
I know. Isn't it? Hasn't it been a great start to the year? I mean, I think we're all feeling a bit more uplifted. There's no
Yeah.
sign of a lockdown on the way. We're starting to get back into the flow and
Let's call it the endemic.
the endemic. Yeah, I like that. Just before we kick off, I'm just going to quickly bring in Alex. Now, Alex Melrose, sales marketing director here at Blam. He's going to be managing the feed, guys. So he'll be keeping his eye on the chat, answering any questions. So I just wanted to give you a little face there so you know who's who. So feel free to use the feed if you're on Facebook to ask questions, and we can deal with those at the end. In the meantime, Alex is going to facilitate that. You're good, Alex?
All very chipper.
You got that Friday feeling?
I had that Friday feeling yesterday, so it's a Saturday feeling now.
Even better. Even better. Thanks, mate. I will speak to you in a bit. And so, David, looking forward to this one. I've got my notepad. I'm going to be taking notes.
Fantastic.
Really important. I'm going to just let you crack on, mate.
All right. Yeah. Yes.
So,
Great.
all right. Unless you want to have a little chat about it first, or you want to just
Yeah, I wanted to really, hopefully, when people are watching this, if you're watching it live or the recording, think about it in your business and personal life where you're not valuing yourself. So that's what this workshop is about. Please, if I do go over stuff and you missed it, just go back, use a pen and paper, and just write down your notes, because great business owners always take notes. And I know you're all great people, and sometimes sometimes we don't know how to grow our business because we could be the ones in the way. So this is for you guys to really boom it in 2022, and that the times when perhaps you are doubting yourself, you won't doubt yourself. So this is what this is about, really.
I mean, just to put my little angle on this in terms of it's something that comes up so much with Blam partners, knowing the value, and that particularly when somebody's new, if they're not as confident as they would be if they were a year down the line, and they automatically try and discount their services because they don't value their own time so much, and they've got that lack of confidence. And when I see, partners that are, running their business, super successful, their value of what they see themselves, from a monetary point of view, even, just the way that they perceive the value that they give to their clients, in a monetary sense, it elevates massively. It's a lot about confidence.
Yes, confidence is for me, confidence is paramount. It's what do you want to call it? Confidence is king or queen, or whatever you want to say. It's our foundation for and in business. Everyone out there is a business owner watching this and would love to help you. Just have a takeaway today and grow your business. That's what it's all about.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to shut up and leave you to it, mate.
Thanks, man.
Leave the master at work, and I'll catch you. I'll catch you at the end.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, so everyone, I'm going to switch my camera off, stop cam, and I'm going to share my screen with you because I want to share the slides. Just so I can share slides there. Right, okay. I'm going to do this share screen. Okay, so I'm just going to share the screen with you, and hopefully then, there you go. Right. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen, and let's get these slides on the screen. Okay, so this is called How to Value Yourself, starting today. And this is all about you, and it's about your business, your personal life. But ultimately, you are your business, and you are a major part of your personal life. I wanted to help you just go through valuing yourself. And the truth is, for a lot of my life, I didn't value myself as a person, as a guy. And in a lot of situations, it would cost me. So it would cost me in early parts of my career and in relationships. And I would become someone who's like an avoider, someone who's living a life where I wasn't being true to myself. And because I was a guy, I am a guy, because I was growing up, people would say to me, you can't share your feelings because that's emasculating, and that's, grow a pair and be a man. So that was a big part of my story, and I'm not valuing myself because I didn't have anybody to sort of mentor me or coach me, if that makes any sense to you. So this is why I love running sessions like this. I love it because I want you to get some value out of what actually happens, why it happens. And so, where does it all go wrong? Where do we stop devaluing ourselves? If you imagine that your life is a car and the fuel tank, your fuel is how much you are confident, how much you value yourself. And that fuel tank then becomes impacted in the past. It can cause us later on in life in our business not to behave as confident as we'd like to be. I'm sure there's people out there who are watching this who are confident around family and friends. When it comes to meeting new people, suddenly the confidence seems to drain away as if there's a hole in the fuel tank. So this is all about things happening in our life. Things happen in our life. Events happen. Maybe our parents say something. So your parent might have said to you something like, "You're not as good as your brother in maths." Your teacher might have said something to you that, could do better. You're never going to amount to something. But whatever happens, it can lead us to feeling unloved. So I want you to think about in your life. Let's go deep here. This is a mind coach session, all about your business, but you. Where in your life have you felt unloved? I mean, you can write this down. Is it a member of your family you thought didn't love you, or an ex, or something happened, or you were teased at school or bullied? Where in your life? Because feeling unloved and unliked can be a soul-destroying experience. It could be a text message that was sent to you that really hurt you last year, or something that happened recently, or 5 years ago. But wherever it happens, it affects how we look at ourselves. It affects our inner world. So in this session, I want you to go into your inner world, because that is where change happens. Change does not happen when you buy a new car. That's temporary. You feel good for the day, for the weeks, months, but change does not happen to you. just the feeling changes when you get something like that. When you have new clients, you feel good, but under the surface is where it counts, because that will bring you consistent success. So when you look at your business, look at what's happened in your life, and think about in your business, where have you done well and where didn't you do well? Where in your career did you seem to be flying, and other times it didn't happen? There's a guarantee you were a part of that. But unfortunately, we often don't take accountability. And at times we can feel rejected, we can feel left out, and alone as well. If we feel alone, we then start developing these unconscious strategies to deal with it. We start developing strategies to deal with our pain. So we could be procrastinating to do stuff because we want to avoid rejection. And why am I telling you all this? But what I'm telling you is that you weren't born thinking the way you do. You just develop the way you think you do. We have personalities, of course. So you might have twins. Lots of studies have been done with twins where they have different personalities. So one is quite introverted and likes to be in the house and currently works from home, and the other one's quite extroverted. So why is that the case? They were brought up by the same parents, same experiences, same food, lived under the same roof, but one is different to another. I'm sure you are different to your family, to your brothers and sisters, your siblings, your cousins, and that's what gives us an element of being human. We are different. We have different personalities or personal reality. So therefore, something that has hurt a friend of yours in the past caused them to react differently to you. They might have become angry and resentful in life. You might have used that as a learning. So you've got a strategy in place. And these strategies start snowballing. It starts snowballing. So you could become someone who's an avoider. And it could be because you were bullied. Maybe you were 17 years old, you were bullied in the sixth form. And because of that, you avoided going into the sixth form room. You avoided going to parties or social engagement with the other people in your class because you didn't want to be bullied. You feared being bullied. Or perhaps you were let down by someone you loved earlier in life and you wanted to be with them, and that you feel rejected and let down by them. And then as a consequence, you made a decision never to trust anyone again. These things start snowballing. And when they start snowballing, that can affect how we interact with others, but also how we look at ourselves. And we subconsciously don't value ourselves. We don't subconsciously value ourselves, and it affects what I call the blueprint. Okay, so the blueprint, this is a model based on CBT, by the way. It's very easy. You can see that if you're thinking I'm a failure, you're feeling a failure. And then your actions and behaviors could be one of procrastination or avoidance. Don't take chances, don't take risks, don't pick up the phone to call potential new leads. Don't go to events you've been invited to where you could possibly network, but you've decided not to. You don't appear on Zooms. You never switch a camera on, for example. So our behaviors are related to how we feel. Have you noticed when you are feeling really confident, strong, you make decisions rather quickly, and better decisions than when you're feeling perhaps weak, perhaps you feel pathetic inside, perhaps you feel rejected, perhaps you feel not good enough, and then the actions, behaviors are different, so different. So the way we feel actually is creating a behavior. But how do we feel? And the feeling is coming from thoughts, continuous thoughts. So if somebody says something that's nasty to us, we register in our brain, and then we feel a certain way. We can feel angry towards them or hurt, or a whole multitude of behaviors. So our thinking then has to come from somewhere. And I call it the blueprint. And part of the blueprint is how we believe in ourselves. How much do you actually believe in yourself? On a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to actually write down, if you've got a pen and paper, how much do you actually believe in yourself? 1 being low, 10 being high. You don't have to share it, I want you to think about how much do you actually believe in yourself. And the second question I want you to answer is how much do you value yourself, your time and energy? How much do you actually value yourself? And this is all in the blueprint. This is under the surface. You're not even thinking about it. This is an unconscious or subconscious belief and value system you've got going on that once you change it, you'll think differently. I've no doubt you'll think differently. When I didn't value myself before, I wouldn't even, ask a girl out, or I wouldn't even try to sit a course or an exam or go to trainings or events or even charge clients in the early days, And because of that, it was a self-propagating, self-fulfilling prophecy where I was just thinking I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, feeling that, and then it's reflected then in the way I develop relationships, with friends, and romance that affected that. I would be someone who didn't trust people, and it would affect me, and also friendships. So we wouldn't turn up and be the best self, and also it can affect the family. These are areas which are so important as it affects our own behavior. So I want to ask everybody out there: are there any people pleasers, in the house? Anybody who's actually a people pleaser, who actually puts their time and energy before before themselves constantly? Is anybody out there who's a people pleaser? If you want to pop it in the chat box, I'm really happy to. Where's my camera? There. Any people pleasers? Anybody want to share their stories about people pleasing, how it affects them when they're speaking to clients? Anybody? John, to be honest, not so much money previously. As soon as I pay for something, it's money down the drain because it's failed before it has begun. Right, okay. Thanks for sharing that, John. And there's something that I want you to think about that. Grant, not this time, John. I want you to think about that. Your business is 95% mindset. 95% mindset, 5% action. And you've got to take the action. That's still a huge part. But if action is a huge part, then 95% is a effing huge part. It's a really big part, because that mindset will get you through times when you need to be resilient, when you need to stay focused, when a client perceivably puts the phone down you and you think rejects you, when things aren't going well at home, but you still got to go to work or still got to do the work. So even though things aren't great in the personal life, you still got to do what you've got to do in your business life, working life. So this is where you can change the way you look at yourself. So it's for you just to realize that mindset is practically everything. Because if the mindset is all wrong, you don't take the action. So it just goes to saying that once you sort of the mindset, then everything as a consequence changes. And when it changes, you start to think and feel vastly different. Let me just get this back on. So we become a people pleaser. So people pleaser is when you put somebody else's time, when you put your time and energy before yourself, and you are doing it as a strategy to please others. Now, what I'm saying is that there's absolutely no problems actually helping people, because that's what we're here for on this planet, to help people, to make a difference, and to be on a mission. That's it. Whether you're a plumber helping people with their heating systems, their boilers, or you're a doctor, a teacher, whether you mow lawns, whether you're a Deliveroo driver, doesn't matter. If you are helping people, you're serving, you're of service to the community. That's what we're all about. But people pleasing goes beyond that. That's when we are looking for something else. That's when we're looking for validation, love, affirmation. That's when we're looking for something else, and it's not unrelated to the actions that we're taking. It's related to what's going on or how we're feeling inside. So people pleasing is a huge thing that happens with people. Now, procrastination is something that business owners all can suffer. When I mean suffer, it's suffer the consequences and the feeling of not being good enough, the feeling of not being on the ball. So what I want you to think about is now, where in your business are you procrastinating? Does anybody want to actually share something with me? Where in your business are you procrastinating? Any? Stop sharing. Stop sharing. Oh, okay. Anybody want to chip in where you procrastinating? Perhaps I can give you a couple of tips, mindset tips in terms of where does your procrastination lie at the moment. Let's do this. Anybody want to type in the box, where am I procrastinating at the moment? Are you procrastinating? Remember, procrastination is a strategy, something that we do. Grant's saying, how about morning routine? Okay, so morning routine is something that's vitally important. If I talk quickly about exercise, the morning is the best time for me. The morning is the best time to do exercise, and I think for a majority of people, they would get more done if you could do a little bit of exercise in the morning. I say that because, interestingly enough, when you look at willpower, science has looked at willpower, and willpower is like a battery containing energy, and this battery becomes deleted. Morning procrastinate before doing exercise. Yes, this battery becomes deleted over time. We lose willpower as we go through the day. So as our energy levels drop, especially during the evening, people have been seen to sort of eat more, waste time eating the wrong food, waste time doing the wrong things, and then the evening can be a waste. So in terms of willpower, our willpower depletes during the day. It's actually been proven scientifically that willpower does deplete. So how can we use that in terms of exercise? Well, if you say to yourself, well, I want to exercise by going to the gym tonight at 6 o'clock, or I want to do my exercise later in the afternoon. How many people out there have actually noticed that as the day goes on, it's almost like that exercise has got to be a chore, something you don't want to do, you're not enjoying it, and you could be more likely to procrastinate and not do it and decide you're going to do it the next day. What science has found out is that exercise in the morning is a great time to do it because we actually wake up in the morning and our cortisol levels, the body's stress hormone, is at the highest level in the morning, between 5 and 7. Professor Matthew Walker wrote about it in his book on sleep a few years ago, indicating that when we sleep, and then between 5 and 7 a.m. in the morning, our cortisol levels at the highest. But so how can you burn away that cortisol? Well, you can burn it away and increase the levels of endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, epinephrine, and the what's the other one? Anandamide. Anandamide. That's the bliss hormone. And these levels of these hormones increase first thing in the morning, and when they increase, you burn away the cortisol. So it's great to do a bit of exercise in the morning. A great app to use is the 8Fit app, number 8, Fit, F-I-T app, and that's awesome to use if you want to burn like 150 calories in about 11 minutes. You can do that. The app is free, and it allows you to do a little bit of exercise. So if you think, I've got an hour to do, or it's 20 minutes to the gym and 20 minutes back, how can I do an hour and 40 minutes traveling as well? So what I do is fixing the routine. So a lot of the days I go running, and a lot of the days I might do a small routine. Next week, I'm actually joining a gym, and the reason for that is, on a personal note, is because I want to start yoga classes, and I've decided I'm coming to the end of January now. I've been intermittent fasting. That's another workshop, and it's absolutely brilliant. I haven't had sugar for the entire January so far. So until next Monday, I haven't had any chocolate, sugar, soft, nothing. And that has, for me, has been a mindset thing. That's been discipline to focus my body all the sugar. Plus, I think I've lost weight, but I'm weighed, feeling good, up there a lot clearer, because sugar really diminishes your cognitive ability. Morning routine is so powerful, and it will take discipline. Personally, I have to tell you, I love discipline. I love it. It's transformed my life. It's transformed my business, my friendships. Discipline is a focusing mechanism. It's, as Bob Proctor says, it's when you give your mind a command and you follow it through. That's what discipline is. You're not BSing yourself. So if you guys really want to do, skyrocket and elevate your business, don't give up. Now, don't give up is not just an idle command. It's you saying, I will not actually ever stop until I get to the level I want to. And it might take 5 months or 5 years, but you can do it. And it's all starts with you. Okay, so I can digress during these workshops, as you might have seen before. Just going to share the screen. Okay. So we can procrastinate. And procrastination, as they say, is the thief of time, enemy of opportunity, enemy of success. Procrastination. So where are you procrastinating? Not accepting compliments. Anybody in this call have difficulties accepting compliments? Love to know. Is anybody in this call having problems accepting compliments? I don't have any problems accepting compliments, but I would do actually before. That's something that would affect me, and I would try and distract that person and compliment them back. Is anybody on this call not like accepting compliments? No. Okay. Neil, none whatsoever. I love it. Thanks, Neil. Awesome. You're awesome. Brilliant. John, no, I paid the missus. Fantastic. So, when you accept compliments, it's saying that, yeah, I'm deserving of love. Yeah, I deserve to be loved. You're not better than me, but I'm not better than you either. So we are equal. So if somebody says, oh, hey, John, that's a wonderful suit, take it. Take the compliment, and the one thing that we can say is, as you know, thank you. Just that magic word, thank you. Because if we try and dismiss a compliment when somebody is throwing love at us, we're disrespecting what they've just said. If it's a genuine compliment, we are disrespecting what they've said. If we are dismissing it. So dismissing equals disrespectful. So yeah, take it. It's nothing to do with ego. I think in this country especially, we are primed to building someone up and then smashing them down. And this happens time and time again. We don't like it. Often people don't like it when they see other people's succeed. But it's an attitude. I love seeing people succeed. I love seeing people happy, motivated, succeeding. Because thank you very much. Because you are, what can I say? We're all here to do something. We're all here to really live a life. And I say purpose, passion, whatever you want to say. It's where we're enjoying what we're doing and we're loving what we're doing. And part of being a business man or woman out there is selling, marketing yourself, just putting yourself out there and believing in yourself. That's part of the business. And if we don't realize that, so if you're out there and you're a web designer, you're on a business of any sort, and you want to really get more clients, then you're going to have to start believing in yourself. Because when you believe in yourself and value yourself, you pick up the phone. You don't mind rejection. You email people. And God knows, I get rejected enough. It's not a problem. It's the problem if I stop, what can I say? Reaching out. Reaching out to organizations. And the benefits are you get to do some great work and you get to actually live the life you want to. If you can decide, I'm not bothered if I'm rejected. I'm not bothered if I'm ignored. I'm not bothered if I'm ghosted. You just carry on. You carry on. And when you do that, you get the results. And it can happen fairly quickly. quicker than you think. So I'm going to jump back into sharing. Okay, not accepting compliments. Where are we? Okay, so not accepting compliments, constantly putting others before yourself. As I said, people pleasing. That's not good. If it's costing you your two vital resources, time, energy, you don't get them back. You do not get them back. You can restore, replenish energies, but the original energy is gone. Time is marching on. Time does not wait for you. And if you want to write something down, just write this down. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. We become a doormat. We become a doormat, and at the end of the day, deep down, we want to be liked. We want to be loved. We want to be liked. We want to be loved. Everyone wants to be liked and loved. But really, where's it going to start? Even deeper. We want to be loved. But where has it got to start? That's what I want to say to you. Where is it going to start? So do you fancy starting again? If you're thinking that this time of your life, you could be out there, you could be 40 years old, for example, and you think, I've had enough. I'm hoping that you're on this session that you really, really want to not only learn something, but change something about you. Because too many people read books saying, oh, that was good, but never apply it. I would love you to leave the session with just one takeaway and apply it. Because that could be the first domino for you transforming you. Not your business, you. Because when you transform you, that means your business is going to transform. That means you're going to go places. Okay, so here's a few strategies. Any dyslexics in the house? They can see my my spelling mistake. I saw it, but I thought, well, I'm not going to change that. Okay, so what I want to do, I wanted to, I'm a big believer in post-it notes. So has everybody got post-it notes? Let's make this highly practical as a session. Has everybody got post-it notes? If you haven't, then if you're watching in replay, grab some post-it notes. If you're watching this live, just get some later if you haven't got any. So I just want to give you some new thoughts to really go over with in terms of changing how you can value yourself. Remember that only 5% of your mind is conscious. 95% is subconscious. So if it's subconscious, then you better believe it, you're going to have to change the subconscious level. You cannot change your conscious. You can make a conscious decision to change and actually go and do it, or make a conscious decision to go and buy a new car, or a conscious decision to learn to swim. But you've got to then teach your subconscious mind to do the activity, such as go, hire an instructor, get into the water and learn to swim with lessons. And then you're teaching your subconscious mind. Have you noticed that in your entire life, every skill that you have, including, I don't know, making eggs and bacon for breakfast, learning how to make a cup of tea, walk, drive, riding a bike, any skill that you have was learned by the process of repetition. We only learn by repetition. Things are just not implanted in us. We'll learn by repetition. If we see our parents shouting at each other, angry, disrespecting each other, we actually, at some level, might think that's norm. That's the norm. It's normal. We get a lot of our belief and values from our parents, from growing up. And I want you to think about stuff that you're still doing. Perhaps you've learned from your parents that you wish you weren't doing. You can actually change that. So I'm going to share with you some statements for you to actually use straight off the bat. And as a result, you can start changing the way you are thinking about yourself. Okay, so often we don't think we're enough. And the truth is we are. But if we don't think we're enough, unfortunately, it can affect us if we don't think we're enough. And this is where you've got to know that you're enough. So the first thing you can write on a post-it note, these words: I am more than enough. Not just I am enough, I'm more than enough. I'm more than enough. We have all got it within us to be at least enough. We're more than enough. And when you have more of something, you've got plenty in reserve. This is something that I totally believe in. This is what I didn't believe about myself. And pop this on a post-it note and see it. See it. If if it's something that you really want to see, put it on the bathroom mirror. Put it by a bedside cabinet. Put it in your wallet, your purse. Put it on your desktop computer, or put it somewhere where you don't want others to see it. And it's something that it's a personal journey. But remember, you can look at this before emailing the client and send them over a quote. You're thinking that, I don't want to send them over. I want to send them over a cheaper quote than I was going to. But look at this and think, I'm more than enough. If you believe in yourself, I'm more than enough. If you believe you can serve in whatever you're doing, you can serve your customers or your clients, and you know you're good at it. You know you can deliver a great service. I'm more than enough. Read that before you get on the call to a friend for a difficult conversation. Keep thinking about it. I am more than enough. Simple words, but they are so powerful, and they will not enter your subconscious mind until you allow them to enter through a conscious. And the conscious mind, therefore, has to see it. Okay? If you put it, the only problem with a notebook is putting them in a notebook and keeping them there is you will never see it because the notebook's often closed. That's why I love, people know I love post-it notes, because it's something that you can see. Remember that your biggest sense that you currently have is vision. So the vision can see. I think 60 to 70% of our brain's capacity for sensory setup is for vision. Remember the visual cortex, that massive part of the brain, the back, is dedicated to your vision. So I am more than enough. Okay, and this visual cortex, remember, is linked up to other parts of your brain which involve procedural memory, cognitive behavior, memory, short-term, long-term memory, and the vision is involved in that. That's why when you think of something that have happened to you in the past, you go there visually first, and then emotionally, and then these two interact completely. You can think of a happy moment you had at a Christmas party, if you want to, a few years back, or a birthday party, or something that happened on the beach, or when you passed an exam and you were just jumping in joy. You can see that, you can feel that moment. So I am more than enough. And when you do this and you use it in your everyday experience, what your subconscious mind will start to do is to implement it, and your belief center will increase. And suddenly you are believing in yourself. But use this as a precursor, really, to take an action. And when you see the results coming in, you'll realize, hold on, this is true. So your mind will try and fight it. Don't worry, your ego and your mind will try and fight it. But I'm 100% convinced, and I know this for sure. If you repeat it, your subconscious mind will eventually accept it. It has no option but to accept it. Because if you've said to yourself in the past, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good looking, you actually believe that. If you say that enough, you will actually believe it. Why? Because you've told your subconscious mind repeatedly. So it just listens. It's actually like your servant. It'll listen to you. So if you repeat something over and over again, eventually it will sink in, whether it be positive, affirmations, affirmative, or whether it be negative. It doesn't really care. It's like your butler. It will listen to whatever you tell it. The next one is one thing I've just said earlier on, and something I totally believe in. This is for me, has been a game changer for a lot of my clients over the years. A lot. I've taught this, and it's in my book, by the way, but here it is. I'm not better than you, you're not better than me. And all that means is we're equal. If you don't think you're equal, if deep down you think some people are better than you because they have more money than you or better looking than you, you're sadly mistaken. And that's it's not something that you're fault, but it's your responsibility to change. Because how people have left us feeling in the past can impact on how we think right now. So you can reverse that. This is not saying we are equal as a sentence. This is saying I'm not better than you, you're not better than me. What the subconscious mind will try and work out is, what's this mean? And when it does that, it then says, all right, we're equal. Okay, say it enough and you will stop believing. Just like Janine. Janine was, is an ME sufferer, but had problems with self-esteem, the way she felt about herself. And her husband actually came to practically 99% of her sessions with me, where she changed the way she looked at herself and valued herself. So much so that her husband, there wasn't not really much wrong with him, or so we thought. He didn't have those sort of issues, but he was his business, and he'll even say this, as a consequence of coming and sitting there in the sessions next to his wife while I coach his wife, he actually took so much benefit from it and some of the tools I taught her, that his business exploded. His business exploded purely because he was actually being coached himself. Because he was watching, he came to the first session and just crossed his arms and just watched with thinking this is not going to work. And then he came the second week and then the arms were uncrossed. And then literally was there. I coached her for a year. It transformed her life. We don't have to go into that, but his business as a consequence transformed because he started to think differently. Only because, as he said, he was applying the techniques I was teaching her in the sessions. So that's something that's so important. What I wanted to think about now is, how can you start to change your life and how you value yourself? Right. Let's talk about time. And this is so important. Time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. And what do I mean by that? Well, one sentence that you can write down is, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. It's always ticking. So time is going to march on, regardless of whether you pick up the phone, call new clients, or you value yourself or devalue yourself, or procrastinate or people please or anything. Put yourself down. Time still marches on. So we need to guard our mind. More to the point, we need to protect our time, or what we do every day. We need to protect it. And that's something that I've learned over the years, to protect your time, to maximize my day. And when you maximize your day, you start valuing your time and your energy. Therefore, I can work late if I wanted to, and work consistently. So the first thing I want to share with you is just a subtle reminder, and I know you would have heard this before. However, I'll go into it. Okay, so the first thing I want to go into really is tech detox. And you might be thinking, well, I'm going to teach you to suck eggs. I'm not teaching anything new. Well, you've got to look at the consequences of wasting half an hour per day for a week. Half an hour per day for a week. So that's 210 minutes a week wasted. Say for example on social media, or wasted just checking the wrong emails, or you're just wasting on tech. So 210 minutes per week. So 210 minutes per week. So if we say we just times it by 4.1, so it's 210. That's 861 minutes a month. Okay. So if we divide by 60, that's actually, we've wasted 14.35 hours a month, where we've wasted it on just say on tech. So 14.3 hours a month. That's perhaps your entire awake day. So if you do love your sleep and getting up and doing stuff, 14 hours, over 14 hours a month, you can save by having a tech detox and doing something more productive. What can you do in that half an hour? That's up to you. You can bake, you can read, you can meet a friend, have a good conversation, go for a walk, whatever, but a tech detox. And that's just half an hour. So I'm going to ask anyone on this session, at some level, would you like a tech detox? What would a tech detox do for you? Not just for the time, but for your level of productivity. Anybody want to answer that? Fire away. What would the tech detox do for you, for your business? What would it do for you having a tech detox? Besides being more disciplined, what would it do for you? Grant says, define your purpose. It can change your mindset. Yeah, definitely. Anybody else who thinks a tech detox, apparently can change your mindset? Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. And if you're watching this, be way more productive and less distracted. Somebody said on Facebook. Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is discipline. But how do you get disciplined? We did a Sunday morning with no tech. Yeah, brilliant. How do you get more disciplined? Well, it is actually just reminding yourself the clock is ticking. And I'm never going to enjoy my time with my family if I'm on tech. I'm never going to be able to grow my business if I don't have a tech detox. We have to associate it emotionally, or the emotional benefits, and how you're going to feel and how it's going to impact on your life. So a tech detox could be just putting your phone on silent for an hour and reading. And for a lot of people, that's like cutting their arm off. They just don't want to do it. So I want to think about, where can you have this tech detox? I remember working with a client recently, and he now does it in the afternoon between 2 and 4 as a tech detox. So he's in the workplace working on his business, but has a 2-hour period where we will not even answer the phone, not even phone calls. People know his landline are the people who matter to him in his life. So they ring the landline, so he knows it's important. But otherwise, there's 2 hours of tech detox, switches the laptop off, switches all tech off, and gets on with other things in the business without the need for tech. So it's something that's super important, because what are you valuing at that time? You're valuing your time as well as your energy. Again, it's a productivity hack, so you can then go on to get more done. And what happens? You feel good about yourself. You know, when you feel good about yourself, the benefits are endless. It stops you comparing. You know, when you're on social media, for example, it can stop you comparing your life to others. No matter how successful you are, you still might be comparing your life to others, your business to others. So the key is not to settle. So here's something you can pop on a post-it note. I remember when I was thinking about why a deal hadn't gone through, or why I seemed to take my foot off the accelerator in my business, and it's because I was settling. I was settling for, I've done enough for the day, or I've done enough this month, I've done enough last year. So the key is, pop this in a post-it note. Quite powerful. It's only 2 words for you to think about, and it's an attitude shift. The attitude shift is, don't settle. Don't settle, which means that you want to keep moving forward. You want to keep the momentum going. Just because you've got 6 new clients this week doesn't mean that you can't get 8 next week. Don't settle. And when you do that, you keep your eye on the ball. You keep focused. You keep that momentum going. You keep that energy going. It keeps you hungry. You know, I'm not a Man United supporter by any stretch, by any stretch of the imagination. However, you know, one of the greatest managers of all time is Sir Alex Ferguson. And They would win a championship, they would win a Premier League or a trophy, but he would immediately be thinking about the next league or the next trophy they wanted to win. Immediately. He would not settle. He would not stop, would not settle, and he would actually create an attitude, an atmosphere, an environment within the club where they would not settle, let alone second best. They would not settle for what they've done is enough. They wanted more. They were hungry. It's not being greedy, it's being hungry for more. That you want more, that you want to be as successful as you can. So don't settle. That's something that's all great leaders, and you're all leaders, don't settle. They don't think that their current results are the final results. So what you've got to think about is, where am I settling my life? And get that hunger to take you further. Appreciate yourself. So appreciate. So let me give you a quick technique where you can appreciate yourself and show it, because especially in this country, we're not very good at patting ourselves on the back or patting each other on the back, and to appreciate life. But in order to do that, first of all, you've got to appreciate yourself. And how are you going to do that? Okay, so this is a simple way you can do it, and you can make this a daily practice. Because I'm all about simple things you can do daily that will eventually create an incredible life. If you improve 1% a day in 100 days, you're going to improve 100%. You can appreciate that. So at the end of every day, so about 4 or 5-ish in the afternoon, I want you to think about, and then either write down or just think about 5 things you appreciate about you today. 5 things. So this could be, I appreciate how I was patient with my daughter this morning. Or I appreciate that about myself, that I was calm in traffic. Even though I was late for the meeting, I was calm. What do I appreciate of myself? I appreciate about myself that I'm a loving partner. All these things can add up. Or I appreciate that I took time out last night to listen to some music. Even when I thought that I needed to do some work, I wanted to just listen to some music to kick back and relax and just have some me time. Appreciate. So what are the 5 things you can appreciate about yourself? And you can do this every single day, because things happen. And what we tend to do in many cases is, if we don't achieve what we want, or we don't like something about what's happened, we blame ourselves or blame others, and we don't pour this appreciation on ourselves. So again, science has found out that when we appreciate ourselves, we start to revalue ourselves. So start appreciating yourself. The next was reconnect. Reconnecting with yourself, reconnecting with life. So often one really, really easy way to do this is to go out in nature, whether you live by the sea or a park, just to reconnect with what's outside of you, because we're not defined by our business. Business is not what we're all about. It's a big part of our life. But to reconnect with ourselves, that's perhaps to go and walk by a stream, a river, just listening to the sounds around us, or birds, the water flowing, or walking through a park. So just reconnect. And if you notice that since 2020, a lot of people have been disconnected. And because they're disconnected, life seems to be a struggle. So that's somewhere that we can start immediately. The power of saying no is so difficult for some people. Again, we've talked about people pleasing. We've talked about when we want to say yes, but we just say no. So just to be more observant of where are you saying no to opportunities in your life? Where are you saying no to the right people, and yes to the wrong people? So we can then decide, well, where do we want to say yes? Where do we want to say yes? Opportunities. If somebody's giving you an opportunity, do you talk yourself out of it? We need to identify and become more aware of where you're saying no and where you're saying yes to, because it can give you a little indication of the struggles that are going on inside of your head. Boundaries are super, super necessary in your life. Our boundaries are so important that we have clear boundaries with friends and family or inner circle, and to have clear demarcated boundaries. And if you have a boundary and if you look at yourself in a certain way, people will respect you for that. People will always respect your time and energy. If they don't, then they're not worth a seat at your table. So when you think about this, the boundaries that you're currently actually drawing between yourself and others around you. I'm a huge believer in the power of the heart and gut feeling. Huge believer. So I want you to think about this. Think about your gut. Your gut is connected to your brain by the vagus nerve. It has a lot of cells lining the gut membrane, which are very similar to your brain. So there's a definite connection between your brain, heart, and gut. You know, the heart's the emotional center, the brain's the thinking center, the gut feelings, that feeling you get when you're excited, or the feeling you get when you're feeling sick, when you're feeling tense, nauseous, anxious. It's in that same area. Have you noticed when you get butterflies or you get a nauseous feeling because you're feeling nervous? Remember, the word nervous comes from nerves. So our gut will often tell us if something is right or wrong. How we feel about it internally in the mindset realm then can determine what action you take. So think about your gut feelings on a current client or deal or something in your business that you want to change or improve. What's your gut feeling around it? Trust that gut feeling. And the more of this action you take, the quicker you can start valuing your own input instead of seeking validation or confirmation from others. Trust your own heart and gut feeling. The next thing you can put on a post-it note is I accept me. I accept me. No one's perfect. And when we learn to accept ourselves, that, you know, perhaps we're never going to play NBA basketball, or we're never going to be an expert swimmer. You know, we're going to be a swimmer. Perhaps we think we'd love to do the triathlon, but at the moment, we're not a great swimmer. So we have to think about what can we accept about ourselves. I accept me, warts and all. No one is perfect, and this is for the perfectionists out there. You know, I accept me, that everyone is equal. I want you to look at this next sentence and even finish it. Say that I am not defined by. I am not defined by. So, what do I mean by that? Well, essentially, what I mean by that is I am not defined by my failure of a relationship. I'm not defined by my other business failures. I'm not defined by I live in a small house. I'm not defined by my car, or whatever that you could be thinking. I'm not defined by I didn't go to university. I'm not defined by I wasn't very good at school. A lot of these are in your blueprint at the moment where you are feeling defined by something. I'm not defined by I'm not married, or I'm not defined by I'm single. What is it that you think you are defined by that you can actually change? So put down, I am not defined by ... Pop it in a post-it note, and I'm not defined by the note. So I'm not defined by, because if we become defined by something, what happens is it becomes part of our identity. And our identity is in there, and it works downwards. So our identity. So I want you to think about this. If you think you're not good enough because you failed exams in school, or if you feel you were not good enough because you weren't as good as your friend in business last year, or if you feel defined by the fact that you don't have a partner or someone you live with, you're not in a relationship. So to say, I am not defined by. What it means is you're taking control. You're taking control, and it's starting with you making that decision. So I'm not defined by. Okay. So as we're coming to the end of the session, I'm going to share this. Okay. So I'm not defined by, and it's something that it's key. I'm keen for you to realize that you can make that change. The last technique, I didn't put a slide for this one, but again, you can add it in. I'm gonna add this as an extra for this session. Is something where you can look in the mirror. I want you to look in the mirror and do this every morning and every night. And in the mirror, just say to yourself, I love you, I value you, I respect you. So look in the mirror and just say to yourself, I love you, I value you, I respect you. And do that twice a day for about 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes. So for some people are going to find it very difficult looking in the mirror. But when we look into the mirror, we look into our eyes, we're looking into our soul, we're looking into that deepest part of us. Because remember, there are 3 parts of us. There's the body, the mind, and whatever else is left, which some people call soul, spirit, essence, that deeper part of us, that deepest part of us, which always seems to be watching. So look at the mirror and just say, I love you, I value, I respect you. And this is you actually acknowledging who you are, your greatness, that part of you, that greater part of you. And when you start doing that, the way you look at yourself changes. It will take time. Remember, as Tony Robbins says, repetition is the mother of all skill. And in order for you to change the neural pathways in your brain, it has to happen by repetition. It has to. There's no other way of changing. It has to. Everything you've ever learned, as I mentioned, has been by repetition. Everything you've learned by repetition. Every skill I'm referring to is every skill you've learned has been by repetition. If you can tile a roof or tile a kitchen, you've learned, and it's been by repetition. You learn by mistakes, and you've repeated until you become good at something. So what I want to do is two ways. I was just thinking earlier on. So 2 ways I can help you, because people often email me or contact me and they say, well, what else do you do? Well, the first thing is, as Grant kindly mentioned earlier on, my book, that's chock-a-block full of tools. It's got 40 odd 5-star reviews actually now on Amazon, so I'm really pleased with that. The Let It Go book, so that will help you transform your mindset. And if you're feeling low, you've got low moods for any reason, self-confidence, you're stuck, you're feeling stressed, you're devaluing yourself, then just reach out to me at that. I'm going to be able to, in the month of February, do a few, not too many, first come first serve, free 15 to 20 minute consultations if you're seeking help at a deeper level to sort out really what's blocking you, because ultimately you want to sort out what's blocking you. So there's 2 ways I can help you: the book, or if you want the free consult, then I'm happy for Blam partners, members to just reach out. I've got only limited spots, obviously, because it's my time, but I'm quite happy to help someone who is looking to really help their business through helping themselves. So I'm open to questions, guys. It's 1:05 and the hour has flown. And I'd like to know if you've got any questions at all you wanted to ask me with regards to what we've talked about today. Hello.
Hey, David, that was awesome as usual.
Thank you, man.
And as we wait for the questions to come through, I've just got a couple of things I wanted to pick up on, if that's okay.
Okay.
Great session as usual. What the bit that I love about the content that you deliver is because a lot of people, like for example that last thing that you said about looking in the mirror, and saying, I love you, I respect you, and the repetition of that, talking from my own perspective of when I first started to understand the subconscious mind, it's quite quite a weird and uncomfortable thing to do for most people. But the thing that really started to help me with that kind of thing, with affirmations and visualizations, is when I started to understand the science behind it.
Mm.
And I love it when you talk about the science. And the thing that I didn't know that you talked about today was the bit about the visual cortex
Mm.
being a big part of the brain,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
really goes to show when you're looking at yourself and saying this stuff, when
Mm.
you're reading out the post-it notes,
Mm.
when you're doing your affirmations, the visual element of that's a big, big part of it, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. I mean, how we look at the world and how we look at ourselves, Grant, is the brain is doing the seeing, because our eyes are the cameras. So our eyes actually, just where the light goes in, gets processed, but it goes to the brain. And if the brain can't use the information, we're blind. So it's so important that the brain is kept fed the right information. So case in point, so, you know, if somebody has a migraine, Grant, and they might say, oh, I see stars, or my vision gets affected. It's because migraines can often be due to tension. So tension on a migraine. So you got the shoulders get tense. That then compresses the neck. The muscle in the neck gets tense, and then that presses down on the vascular supply to the brain. So the vascular supply to the brain, the visual cortex, then becomes compromised, and that's why people start seeing stars and have visual symptoms, because the cortex is there, visual cortex, right at the back. So it's no wonder that a lot of people who have migraines suffer with visual symptoms. So it's a big thing. But going back to what you said, if your eyes are seeing this information we were talking about today, it's more likely to sink in quicker. So if somebody wants fast results, like I've seen people transform their lives in, you know, a couple of months, 8 weeks, and that's not a long time. If they've been working with a coach or a therapist or someone for years and there's no change, there's something wrong there. So as you say, the vision is a big part of the roadmap in our brain for us to change. It really is that important, and I believe that's reflected in what we're seeing with people. You know, if they're watching TV in the pandemic or the last 2 years and watching the news, no wonder a lot of people are suffering depression now and anxiety, because they've been fed often misinformation, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You're going to have to protect yourself and guard your mind. Yeah.
And so that that whole thing about the repetition of
Mm.
the right information, you know, I love what you said about you know, you can basically tell your brain what to do. You've
Yes.
just got to tell it enough times.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think we talked
You
about this
have your-
before when we did you know, the boot camp, and we talked about the way you form habits. And part of that habit is making yourself look at. I mean, on my. I could whenever I look at here, I've got all of my post-it from the session that we did before all around here, and it's training yourself to keep reading them and
Yeah.
not make them just become part of the scenery.
Yes.
So that repetition keeps,
Yes.
and that's where you've got to form the habits, because
That's right.
it sounds easy, but it's actually quite hard.
It's not easy. Not easy at all. A good way around it, stopping it from becoming white noise, is to every, you know, maybe a month or 2 months, rip down the post-it notes and start again.
Just
Put them
right
up. Yeah, write them out again, different colors, post-it notes,
Yeah.
because your brain becomes very used to what it sees around you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's really powerful. We've got one there. So discipline is my main challenge, and how not to rest would be my key. Sorry, is that? Yeah, and how not to rest would be my key.
How not to rest. Okay. I mean, discipline is something I truly believe in. It's you taking charge. You know, it is you taking charge. We've got one side of us which is our ego, and they might say, "I'm not good. You're not good enough. How dare you even start a business?" and that is formed from external voices from the past. Anything you've ever imagine that there's like a being that you've created, which is fed off all the rejection you've ever had, all the negativity, all the times that people have said something nasty to you, or you felt not good enough, or you've read or seen on the TV. It's feeding this part of you, that negative part of the ego, saying you're not good enough. And it's up to you to say, I am good enough. And I'm going to go to the end of my life, and I'm going to keep doing and keep going and keep going. I'm going to enjoy my life, but then how am I going to do it? How am I going to break the ego? I'm going to be disciplined. So discipline for me is taking charge and saying, right, whatever I say, I'm going to do. I'm going to do is taking discipline. And if you can't do it, you better have a good reason. So it's us saying to say, right, if you say, well, I'm going to, like, I tested myself this month, as I said, I haven't had any sugar. No sugar this month, nothing.
That's a big deal for you, mate. You're a chocoholic.
I know. I know, mate. And it's I was thinking, how can I challenge myself? And you know what? I've really enjoyed this month. Love it. And there's been times I've even tested myself even further, Grant. I've gone into two separate occasions. I went into specialist chocolate shops.
Really?
Yeah. One in London called Knoop's, where they have specialist chocolate, milkshakes, hot chocolate, and I had a coffee in each one. I sat there. I was testing myself, so I was going even deeper into it. See, yeah. So it's like people might say you're stupid, but the thing is, at the end of January, I'm gonna feel good. I'm certainly not going to dive into it and have every Kit Kat bar on the shelf. It's like for me, it's like I've achieved something already on a personal level. And for February now, Grant, I'm joining a gym next week because I want to learn yoga. I want to learn yoga. So I'm essentially layering new habits over this year. So every month I'm going to do something new. So I haven't done yoga for 20 years now. I'm going to learn yoga twice a week in February. And I'm going to layer that so that I'm going to, my aim is to do yoga for the rest of my life. And I know I will do it because I used to love it back 20 years ago. So that's month 2. And then month 3, I'm going to have something else going on, whether it's cycling again. But it's all about us saying, I'm challenging myself every month. Because if you can do that, everyone out there, if you can challenge yourself, it makes it so much easier to be committed to. Picking up a phone call to a client or organization is nothing compared to that, so you're pushing yourself outside of what you know. Okay, John, nice to see you.
Just one last thing, mate, I just wanted to pick your brains on was the other part, again, going into the science side of this and how it works. And I do remember reading something about this years ago, but you touched on it, the way that our brain is somehow connected to our gut and our heart. And I remember watching a documentary some years ago where a scientist had actually proven that our heart actually has, almost helps make decisions.
Yes. The Institute of Heart Math in California years ago, and I think a guy won a Nobel Prize for science for this, indicated that the heart and brain are actually coherent when they're in flow. When we're in flow state and everything's going perfect, and it just seems the day flows so much better when we're thinking and feeling amazing. The voltage of the heart and the brain at that time are said to be equal, and they're not equal very often. And at that point, we are what they call the heart and brain connection is in synchronicity. So time seems to disappear at that time. And the gut itself as well is also connected to the entire system. So I'm a big believer that we've got 3 areas of intelligence. I mean, this institute called it heart intelligence. We've got 3 areas: our cerebral activity, our heart intelligence, which our heart is actually intelligent. There's cells in the heart which are very similar to brain cells. They're seen to be very active. and also our gut. And the gut itself is lined with mesentery, like a surface covering. And this surface covering has cells, and scientists have looked at these cells, and they're quite similar to brain cells. So the whole system there to there is linked up. And it just then, it makes you think about, a lot of people spend time in there, ignoring their gut feeling and ignoring this bit here. But it's called coherence, heart coherence. And it's scientifically proven now that the heart, if you allow your heart and your gut to help you make decisions, your decisions are more likely to be correct than incorrect. Yeah.
And it's almost like science has proven that when we say go with your heart, go with your gut,
Yeah.
it's been proven, and we've been saying that for centuries.
For centuries, yeah, because we, when we have butterflies, we feel it down there. And when we feel nervous, we feel it. And sometimes the nervous due to fear. So that's not a gut, it's more of a fear aspect. But if somebody says to you, what's your gut feeling about this decision I'm going to make in my business? And you sit there, then you will come to the right conclusion. You will always come to if you get out of there, down there, you're more likely to make a better decision, should we say.
That's awesome. I'm fascinated by stuff like that, because for me, it helps me justify some of the stuff that that we're told can feel a bit woo woo and a bit sort of weird, and I love it when that stuff gets justified with science. It kind of, for me, just helps me intellectualize it and go, well, there's a solid reason for doing that. It's not me just being daft and wishful thinking.
No.
Is for real.
Yeah, definitely. It's very science backed, and you can study it. You can get certified in it with the Heart Math Institute. Yeah, it's in California, and
Wow.
I researched it 20 years ago. And then realized, the heart. I mean, the heart is an electromagnetic field, and science has proven now that its electromagnetic field is far more powerful than the brain's electromagnetic field.
Wow.
It's actually much, I don't know how many, is it 1,000 times more, but it's much, much more powerful than the brain. That's why you can do ECGs and EEGs, because there's electricity there.
Yeah.
And electricity there. So what's happening is, when we get ourselves in a good place, and these two are linked up, say through journaling, meditation, walking in nature, taking tech, switching our tech off, it improves the connection between that and that. That's what they're talking about, and I think one day they'll talk about this in schools. I'm sure about it.
Yeah. It just seems to make sense. I think it would help a lot of people, take action. Other than, because I often get a lot of people sort of dismiss some of the things that you and I do out of habit. Things like affirmations, vision board, visualization, meditation. Ever so often people will dismiss it and just say, oh, that's a load of rubbish. But it's just fact that it that it works, and the science proves
it's to add to that, if they don't believe it, then it's never going to work.
Yeah.
So it is self-fulfilling. But these are practical. Everything I've talked about today is practical. It's feeding your mind. It's really whatever information you put into your computer, whether it be doing a PowerPoint press or you're building a document, the information comes out of your head first, goes in there, and whatever's you put in there is the result. So I'm very respectful of other people's views. It's not a problem to me. It's their life. At the end of the day,
mate, you've been an absolute legend as always. Really appreciate taking the time to spread all of your fantastic messages. Don't forget, guys, David has put himself out there for a 15-minute consultation, which would be hugely valuable. Just send it through to hello@mind.coach. Send an email through, and David will liaise with you. Don't forget, Let It Go on Amazon. Fantastic book, full of really good, practical, actionable tips to help you and your business. Thanks to Alex for managing the feed.
Thank you, Alex.
We will see you on the next one, David. Much appreciated, mate.
Thanks, man.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.